would have known when you first got your whole life insurance policy set up, when you first kind of got started with this strategy, when you first started kind of learning about like the infinite banking concept, for example, what's some things that no one told you about with these policies that you might have been even oversold on them? Maybe you did your education, maybe not. You can even use kind of examples that you've learned along the way where people were oversold on these policies. And like, let's just make it real for people who are just getting started with the concept and using whole life insurance as an asset.
Yeah, well, I was very lucky when I got started. I worked with a really great, advisor. And so, I think I did have a really good understanding before, and I did a lot of research as well. So, for me, it worked really well. But I think, there was a little bit of disbelief, honestly, that it was actually going to work in the way that it was described. And so it wasn't until I went past my first policy anniversary that I went, oh my goodness, this really does exactly what people say it's going to do. And so, and I think, especially with all those stories around things that don't work as they are intended and things like that, it makes you a little bit skeptical about whether or not it's really going to do its thing. But if it's properly designed, as I was fortunate enough to have mine, first policy properly designed, then it really does work really well. And that's what then led me actually to want to teach other people about it, because I'm like, wow, everybody should be doing this because it's like so effective. But in terms of what I see is sometimes people think that they're going to get something and they don't end up with what they think they've asked for. So that's obviously very disappointing because, people are putting money into it. The other thing is that people often, are told that term insurance is the only option and not really understanding that they do have other options. And unfortunately, people don't necessarily find that out until they're significantly older. So term insurance is great and it really does have a good purpose. However, once you 10 or 20 years later, that insurance cost is going up because you're 10 or 20 years older. So being able to have some permanent insurance is actually something just to really think about and be sure that, what the trajectory is, that you're going to need that insurance for all of your life. And so understanding that, if you can put it in place sooner,